Yeah. And that's when I quit because that's all she did. And then I fell on my head and I was like, this is not my
That's
thing.
what I was like. That was my concern face when I was like, that's all you're going to do?
Yeah.
What if I hit my head?
That's what happened. And that's why I didn't, that's the day I left gymnastics.
The day I left gymnastics.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Gracie, where are you from?
I'm from Clinton, Louisiana.
And where is that?
North of about an hour north of Baton Rouge. So, yeah, not North Louisiana, not South Louisiana, just middle Louisiana.
Middle Louisiana.
Yep.
Well, you're in the middle of Tennessee right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
I like it. I like Tennessee. I like Tennessee. It's been fun.
Kind of baited you through there. So you and I met at the Fit Show, Nashville Fit Show with Whitney.
Yes.
I learned a little bit about what you do, and I obviously kicked off this relationship, and really wanted to sit down with you and get a little more information. So I know you do coaching for figure competitors, for female bodybuilders and figure competitors. What about your job helps women feel empowered? Because I do know that there's this massive movement in figure competitions for women. So tell me a little bit about it.
So the majority of my clients, or actually all of my clients except one client, is not a competitor. So my normal client is just any woman, which could be a competitor, right?
Gotcha.
So that's a huge thing as well, is to teach them that the lifestyle of a competitor, actually it stops it. I want to teach the competitors that their lifestyle as a competitor can be the lifestyle of their normal life without the extremes. So like I do the same thing in my normal life, and my girls that do not compete, we go through the same reverse diet process and the same cut process. We just don't have a stage at the end. We just cut for life is what I say. So we prep for life. So they go on vacation with their husband or their family, and they want to feel confident. So that's what I do in my job. So trying to get into the girls' heads that go on stage and prep for stage, that they can also do the same exact thing for life, except the extremes are not this extreme calorie restriction or extreme fitness part, right? And the empowerment comes from the knowledge about macros, about macronutrients, about the body, about metabolism, about hormones, and then also themselves. So like what we do is I teach them how the body works, the science behind food, right? And then we apply that knowledge to their specific body. And that's where the confidence comes from, is because they understand. That's where confidence comes from in general, is an understanding.
Yeah.
But if they can understand the role food plays, the role exercise plays, and then their body specifically, then that gives them confidence to make decisions, whether they go and eat pizza with their family or eat a salad. They know that they can have both, and that is empowering. Right? So that food does not hold them, food don't make decisions for them. They make their decisions.
So I want to jump on that a little more, because that's where the train goes off the tracks. A lot of clients, right? Is that, and because they feel like the food's going to make the decision for them of enjoyment, they typically opt out of eating.
Yes.
Right. So tell me a little more about that.
Well, to be honest with you, women don't even think that food makes that decision. They don't understand. They don't know the control that food has over them until they bring awareness to that, right? So that's the first, I guess I would say, issue, is women aren't aware of the amount of control they do not have on their own life, right? How much food and alcohol has on their decision making. So that comes from lack of knowledge. Yeah. So when you don't know, so for my eating disorder, and for 99% of women who have eating disorder, which is 99% of the women in the whole world, they choose to not eat because they just don't know what to do. They don't know that it's okay. So going back to knowledge, right? If I can teach them that a fat from an avocado and a fat from a pizza, at the end of the day, if your diet is balanced, it doesn't matter where your fat comes from, right? Ultimately, and we're not eating pizza every single day, but we're eating pizza, once, twice a week. That would be okay. You know what I mean? But so their fear to choose to not do anything is from the lack of knowledge that they have, right?
Right.
Okay.
So where the rubber meets the road is how do you reverse that with your clientele, right? We talked about knowledge being key, But there is an emotional factor to when you go off the rails and you eat the pizza, then you come back the next morning and you feel absolutely guilty.
Yes.
And you try to fix a bad diet with reps. So how do you correct the emotional part?
So the emotional part, I call it food cycling. So I have my girls, I just actually did a check-in with one of my girls before I came here, and her weakness is fillets. So we have like filet mignon.
Oh,
how
is that a weakness?
That's what she craves, and so that's what she craves, and so I do it with the same thing with like Oreos is another big one.
Yeah.
Cake, Mexican food is another big one. So I do it. It's called food cycle. So every week on the same day, Wednesday for her, she'll plan a steak, a filet, an 8-ounce filet. We're gonna plan whatever size she wants, and so to break the emotional attachment is give you that steak in this case, or the Oreos or the Mexican food in a structured way to where they're eventually, and I food cycled donuts, pizza, all the things. Eventually through that cycle, you are like, that's that excitement for the filet and the Oreos gets lower and lower and lower to where you're like, I don't really even care to have it anymore. So yeah, and so my clients we do that. We food cycle through all the foods that would have thrown them off of track, right? And we could do that twice a week with 2 different things. So like I did it for myself was with donuts and pizza. So every Wednesday I had pizza, and every Friday I had donuts. Every week for like 6 or 7 months until now. I can't tell you the last time I had a donut. It was probably the last day of I food cycled it, right? But that's what I love. That's what would cause me to fall off track when I had my eating disorder. So when I cycled through them. And that same thing goes with alcohol. Same thing goes with anything that causes you to stray, really, in any part of life. You go ahead and allow yourself in a structured way to do it, and then eventually it will stop making you excited. And that's where you want to be. You want to be at a place where food and alcohol makes no emotions, right? So that you can have, it's like, I call them life entities, where you can have food is one entity of life, and then your actual life is here, right? To where they don't cross paths. It's just one fuels the other.
Right.
That's it,
And what you're trying to do in all this is keep people from the extremes.
Yeah.
Right. And then
Yes.
Can you go through real quick what the extremes are?
The extremes are 100% yes and nothing, all or nothing.
Right.
And that you apply that to every part of life. Like I see my girls do it with workouts, with cardio, with, even with relationships, to be honest with you. If I'm not going to marry this man, then I'm just not going to be with him. No, you can just kind of see your way through life, right? At this and especially with diet and exercise, like going back to the competitors, they have extremes. So for just me as an example, I reverse and then I do a small cut, and then I reverse and then I just stay here all year long to where I stay pretty dang lean. Like right now I'm eating 3,800 calories, 4 pounds less than I was on my show day, because I just take it in this very consistent way.
I want to pause for a moment.
Okay.
Can you repeat how many calories you're eating?
3,800.
Can you stand up for a second? Okay. Ladies, 3,800 calories.
3,800 calories.
You can sit down.
3,800 calories.
I'm over here eating 3,200 to 3,300 calories.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it takes to keep muscle on your body.
Right.
Not just the calories alone. Obviously, the right macros in that calorie, right in those
within the calories.
Within those calories.
Makeup.
That's how That's how you stay fit. That keeps the muscle in the body. That keeps the muscle burns the fat. And
the
also,
metabolism,
yeah,
the hormones.
The hormones, the regulation of the hormones.
Yes. Yeah. All of it works together. Food. The best way to just think about it and to understand it. Food controls your metabolism, and your metabolism controls your hormones.
Right.
And so when people lower their food, it lowers their metabolism, which imbalances their hormones, and that's where 99% of women struggle.
Right.
And even if they don't, if it's a subconscious cut diet, right? Women don't understand that they start dieting when they're 10 years old, when they see their mom stop eating carbs, and then they directly relate, okay, no carbs, I don't need to eat carbs. And then they start dieting technically when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. That's why it's so important for me or just us to give that knowledge to moms so that we can quit that, stop that.
Well, yeah, it's a huge cycle. It's a generational cycle.
It's a generational cycle, 100%. And they blame it on genetics, and they blame it on, no, genetics is nothing. a small amount of genetics controls your hormones. It's all lifestyle.
Right.
Right? So yeah.
I used to say that to my clients all the time. It's whether you're grossly underweight or grossly overweight, the singular problem is hormones.
Yeah.
Like you inability to regulate or control the hormones or even know where you're at.
Right.
That's missing, right? Then you have no control of your weight, your sleep, your energy.
Yeah. And all of it is controlled through your nutrition.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
So I know, not trying to get like biblical, and I'm not very, like, I believe in God, but he only gave us 3 things to keep us alive: carbs, fats, and proteins. So it doesn't make any sense to me when I really understood that, it didn't make any sense why we should cut any of them. Like, they all 3 have a very, very specific purpose in our body, and then together, like, protein cannot work without carbs. So people that eat just protein and want to build muscle, but you don't eat any carbs, how are you going to even fuel the protein? Protein cannot be used.
Right.
You know? So it just, the knowledge, going back to that knowledge being the key, that will change everything for people.
Okay, so you got to do one thing for me.
Okay.
This is what we'll end with this. There's somebody watching this video and they've gotten all the way through this, and all of this sounds completely terrifying to them.
Okay, yes.
So, on the edge, don't know what to do. What is the one thing that they can change today, aside from like reaching out to you, because you should.
You should.
First of all. But what could they do today, like after they shut this video off, that could help them with these emotions?
With the emotions is, one, schedule a call with me, because I can at least talk to you specifically. You could tell me exactly what happens in your life, and I can help you. But 2, with the emotions is, I would say, track your food. You don't have to weigh it, just eyeball it. You know what a cup looks like, and just see what your habits are. Like, what are you going towards? Are you eating a bag of chips every time you come home from work because you're so tired and you haven't eaten all day? Like, what is your habits? That's what you want to identify right now, so that you can bring awareness to what specifically needs to change.
Right.
So I would say start tracking food and start really just journaling, I guess would say, about what you do daily. And then look back and see what served you, what helped you, because your decisions are either going to help you get to where you want to go, or they're not. And it's very simple. And you look back at what you did all day. If drinking the beer, I know that isn't going to get me to my goal, so tomorrow I'm just not going to drink that beer, or I'm going to drink one less beer.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just slowly, one day at a time, literally looking at it like that.
Yeah, so it starts with awareness.
It's 100%
And then you can
awareness.
zoom out and kind of see what you're doing, and then make changes.
Right.
Well, I should have said that was the last thing. I have one more thing to add, because I've been training for years, and I know you have too. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I've heard it a lot, is that journaling or tracking their food, they're always worried that it's going to make them obsessive. My answer always is you're already obsessed.
Right. Yeah. And you can have that. That's the balance that you want to find, right? But that comes with the coaching and the knowledge. So like the biggest thing with my clients is, I know I've been obsessed and I've hit everything perfectly. So I know what that is like, and what that will give you, and then also have not, and I know what that will give you.
Right.
So the beauty about having somebody that has that experience is they can say, when you fall off, they can say, hey, look, it's really no big deal. It's not because of this X, Y, and Z facts, right? It takes this much to gain fat, blah, blah, blah. And then that alone helps my clients just be like, okay, well then I can get back on track tomorrow, because it's really not that big of a deal. You know, I can go on that spur of the moment date with my husband, and I can do this and not be perfect, and I know that tomorrow is going to be just fine. You know what I mean? So hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
The obsessiveness comes from lack of knowledge. Everything comes back to lack of knowledge, right? So you get obsessed because you don't know that it's okay to come up 10 grams short, or go 10 grams over. And there are ways that I've found that help mentally for my clients, where, like, let's just say they go over 50 grams of carbs today because they ate the extra 2 cookies, then I'll just have them come under 10 grams of carbs over the next 5 days, and then we're back to our total weekly, where we want it to be weekly. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So something like that, again, that comes with the experience and the
awareness
and the knowledge, and then somebody to tell you, hey, look, it's okay. The only reason I was obsessed so much over the first 4 or 5 years is because I didn't have any guidance.
Right.
I just had my own knowledge, which obviously it paid off. But the best thing I could tell you is just get a coach, because why not? Otherwise, because you're going to lose time. At the end of the day, you're going to lose time, and that's all we have.
Yeah.
You know.
So tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
So you can find me on Instagram. Instagram
On that note,
at Gracie Record _fit, and on Instagram, I'm usually on Instagram, obviously Facebook, Gracie Record. I'm going to link. My link tree will be wherever he tells me to put it.
it'll be below this.
It'll be below. Yeah. And yeah, just reach out to me. I have free discovery calls. Just fill out the application and schedule a call. The best thing with that is just, like I said, I can help you directly. Like a lot of things are just general. Like science is just a general person, but you can tell me what you're struggling with, and I can help you, and it's free. And then we can go from there. If you are fit with me as a coach, then cool. If you're not, then you'll learn something.
There you go. So guys, go follow Gracie. Hit her up if you're looking for that guidance. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.